What's up, much love fam, and happy Earth Day. I'm coming to you from the Memorial Villages Farmers Market. Everyone's just getting set up, so I thought I'd give you 3 tips on how to improve your environment on Earth Day. This isn't just about how to fix the Earth. I think if we fix ourselves first, we can fix the Earth. So let's get into it. Number 1, and the most important, is educate yourself and believe that you can change. Our dopamine systems have been so hijacked from social media, fast food, consumer lifestyle, immediate gratification, that we can't often find the time or the will to do right by ourselves first. So educate yourself first, find a reason to want to change, and then first change yourself. That's the most important thing, because it doesn't matter if you have 100 organic farmers, better than organic farmers, ranchers out there who are bringing raw milk and good produce that's made with sustainable agricultural practices. All that stuff doesn't matter if nobody's there to consume it. We are in living in a village. We're all connected. We are all part of the same economic ecosystem. We're all part of the same environmental ecosystem. So we should start acting like it. Consider yourself as part of the change first. Number 2, buy local. Local farmers are it's not just a best practice because it's helping them, but how does it help you, right? Well, your money is best spent on local farmers because local farmers know the best use on their small scale for the bucks that you're spending with them. I'll give you an example. Some of the produce that I buy, not just so I can provide it as a value added to some of our customers who get our mushrooms, but also for my own consumption, it's better than the food. There's a marked difference from the food that I buy from them and the food that I buy in the grocery store. And if I just do a little bit of planning and do a bulk buy with them here, then I am effectively spending only a fraction of the money more than I would at the grocery store. But the food quality is much higher. It's a higher nutrient density, so it's feeding me better. And I'm not paying a grocery store for food waste. You realize that much of the food that goes into a grocery store gets discarded before it even gets there. You have defects, food that is not quite perfect, and there's even outlets that you can buy these defective produce. But your local farmer doesn't care. He's going to bring the food to you, and maybe you'll get a deal on it if it's not quite perfect. But it's better tasting, so you're getting more bang for your buck. And so when you actually buy from your local farmer, and even if you pay a little bit more, they're not hiding all of these extra costs from you of inferior food quality and the overhead of the waste and the overhead, and quite frankly, in Texas, of real estate as well, which is also why we run into food deserts, is because the real estate to operate for produce can be so incredibly expensive, it makes it sometimes out of the reach for normal people. Tip number 3 is to take more public transport. And this may seem foreign for a lot of people, especially in North America. I know for me, I didn't even know the concept of walkable cities until I had taken a trip to Europe and understood, hey, there is actually something different. But I recently started taking the bus again. It's cheaper, I can take a nap while I'm on the bus, it saves gas, and the bus is going back and forth anyway. And the weird thing is that only about 10% of the bus seats are actually filled from the park and ride that I go to. So if you're living in a big city and you still want to live out in the suburbs, that's okay. Try taking the bus. Supporting public transportation, letting your policymakers and your local transit authority know that you're taking public transportation so they can give those lines more funding is all beneficial, because at the end of the day, that use shows a commitment to them that you're actually riding public transportation. You're making a use of those amenities so they can take those bucks and the subsidies from the government and they can put more into better public transportation, light rail, better information for city planners about the use of public transportation. I strongly recommend looking at strong towns. A lot of people think, the suburbs, they are unsustainable. Economically, the suburbs are unsustainable. Most cities are actually in debt and they're going downhill. They're actually increasing the debt just to maintain the infrastructure they have. There is an infrastructure crisis in the United States going on right now, just trying to fix the infrastructure we have. And the people who subsidize the suburbs, of which I live in, are the big cities. The core, the high density population centers, those actually subsidize the suburbs economically, financially. So if you don't want to live in close proximity to other people, you don't want to live in an apartment, that's fine, but try to take more public transportation. I like living further out, but if you look at a model like Switzerland, they have public transportation that does go out into the middle of nowhere, to mountains, alpine mountains. If they can do it, we can do it. So ride more public transportation, show an interest in it, tell your policymakers that I want more public transportation in my area, because it not only saves congestion, it saves fuel, it saves you money, it's beneficial to everyone. I strongly recommend, if you want to learn more about this, look up Strong Towns, or there's a YouTube channel called Not Just Bikes. They break things down into how to make better, more livable cities, because not only is it beneficial economically, but it's also just better for our lives. Sitting for 8 hours is as bad as smoking 10 packs of cigarette a day. So that should give you some idea. If you're actually, at the very least, walking a little bit to the bus station or walking back and forth to the tram station or something, it's improving your life and your health tremendously. And it's also improving the health of your kids, because if we have city planners that are designing with an eye towards public transportation, walkable cities, creates a better sense of community. I would encourage you to look up a video that's, I can't remember the name of the video, but I'll link it in the description. It's a guy who actually set up an entire block of the old village concept somewhere in, I think, Washington. So I'll link that in the description. But that's your third tip. And as a bonus tip, this is something that anyone can do, and it's extraordinarily cheap. Buy a pot, buy some soil, and start growing something yourself. Everyone has a balcony or a yard or a raised garden bed or an acreage that they can try growing something in. Put something in the ground, get your hands dirty, and understand how simple it is to just grow one thing. And realize that God gave us everything we need to make enough food to feed everyone. And we don't need industrial fertilization of soils to make it work. We didn't need it for the longest period of time. Livestock did that. Regenerative farming was a practice before we even knew what to call it. So before we invented petrochemical fertilizers and before we found out how to chemically engineer pesticides, we were doing just fine for ourselves with livestock and the land that we had. So put something in the ground, learn how to grow, get your hands dirty, and that's all my tips for Earth Day. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, comment. Would love to hear your thoughts. Hopefully we can do more videos like this. Planning to do a video where I debunk a lot of the greenwashing myths that might be out there already. So much love and peace, fam.